Welcome everybody. This is
Hey,
Substack
everyone.
Live. Me and Julie hanging out on a Wednesday afternoon. I've joined a chat with weak people. Wow.
Starting off
Wow.
strong.
Yeah,
This is why I
really.
don't go live. Anything can happen when you're live.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta be prepared for anything.
Right. This Jeff Long guy.
I
No,
know. Who's Jeff? No, just kidding.
no,
Hey, Jeff.
Jeff. Yeah, I've seen.
We know.
um, Welcome everybody. We were just, of course, talking about some weather and some coffee timing. How we can't do it later in the day. Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. No worries, no worries. Max Pete is in the house. This is
My mother's in
wonderful.
the house.
Oh my goodness, what's up, Mom?
We're in good
Welcome.
company.
Yes, this is a good time. We I don't know if this will be of any help for anyone. Just a bit into because before we went live, we were talking a little bit about approvals and social media and this and that and clients. Julie, what are you up to? I think like maybe we could start with that, like
Mhm.
because you're launching, you've launched a thing.
Mhm.
If you want to talk a bit about that and like what you're looking to do, because I think one of the biggest things in all of this is like knowing people knowing what other people are doing so that they can help people do the things they want to do.
Yeah. So I will start a couple months ago in March. I left a job that I was at. I had a 5-year career as a product manager in tech and startups, and then was in kind of different spaces in tech and startups on the operations, customer focused management side. So that was like 10 years of my career, and I've been through 3 layoffs in a short period of time. This last layoff was like right around this time last
Mm,
summer, like almost to the week. Um, Spent the summer like trying to figure it out, and as I was job searching, I was like, well, like the job comes up, great, but also I'm going to try to see if I can go out on my own and do my own thing. And a 3-month contract came up in September. I took it, I signed it, I ended up going full time. And the minute that happened, I realized that was just the wrong move for
mm,
me. There was something about the separation of like ownership that I had when I was contracting, especially if anybody here is in tech and product, like there's a lot of ownership and a lot of decision making and uh, different people wanting different things. And when I was on a contract, I could be like, this is my recommendation based on everything I know, but you do you. And so went full time and realized, wait, this was not the right thing to do. So spent a
mhm,
couple of months figuring out where it was that I wanted to go and decided to leave that job in March and give myself a true try at freelancing, self employment, whatever you want to call it.
mm,
Simultaneously, I've had my Substack, for 3 years. It was a stack of subs when I joined. And then about a year and a half later, I changed the name to what it is today. This might be cringe. I started a podcast at the beginning of the year. Seth has been on my
yep.
podcast. He was a wonderful guest, as was Max Pete, who is in the audience. Um, and then I've been for about a year or so doing some like freelance copywriting. So that is sort of the thing that is extending my savings a little bit. I've got 2 clients in that regard, do social media management for them. So for one account, it's like anytime you see a funny little quippy comment on from a brand on someone's video, that's me for this one brand. And then started to do some like more social media strategy, which isn't really anything that I have training in, but I have
Mm,
the trust of the person that hired me, which is really nice. So
mm,
stretching my wings in that direction. And I'm just, spending some time trying to figure out where I want to land. I do have this rich background in tech where I was a product manager, where I have a lot of operational experience, where I've worked really closely with founders. So trying to find a label that doesn't always quite exist is sort of the piece I'm up against now. Uh, well, like if you just bring me on board, you're gonna love me. Like everyone loves me once,
mm,
they know me. I can do anything.
right.
Um, that's not really a sales strategy or like a LinkedIn. Like there's all the freelance advice girlies and guys. And they probably would say that that's not the best strategy for going out on your own, but some figuring out that messaging and what that looks like.
Well, you mentioned it briefly with the about the social media strategy. You don't have the training in it, but you have the trust of that particular client.
Right.
Like so much of that is built on that. And like you saying like, just bring me on, you'll love me, and I can figure it out and do it. Like that's like so many of us, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know the XYZ of but like I'm gonna roll my sleeves up and figure it all out, and like, and you'll love working with me too. Like, let's
Yeah.
go,
Yeah. I really
people.
resonated with like the language around generalists, like being a generalist and being somebody that can wear many hats and do so many things. And what I realized is when a company or when somebody has a generalist on board, they are so thrilled because they can chuck whatever work at them and they'll do it and they'll often do it like quietly or happily. But getting somebody to admit that that's what they want is really difficult,
Mm,
right? So
yeah.
it's like you know, you hire someone for this because they're good at this thing for this particular niche, and then they enter and they're like, well, what about X, Y, and Z? So in my perfect world, right, I'm flipping that on its head. I'm saying like, you have things to be fixed. I know you do because you're a startup, so there's no way you don't. Just my personal experience. And so let's go. Let's make some magic. So that's the what I'm noodling on right now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're right. There's so many. I think part of it though too is, and I've experienced this. I mean, I haven't had a full time gig since 2006, not by choice. Like I wanted to, hey, yeah, cool, let's try to get this job or that. Just hasn't fallen that
Mm.
way. And yeah, so often it was like, no, but I could do this. And I think so often, like so many of these places are just like, we're hiring for X. We want to know you have this much experience doing exactly X. Cause I think a lot of it is just like, there's no risk for the person hiring for that thing because like if it doesn't work out, well, they said they did X for this many years
Mhm.
and it didn't work out. Oops, it's out of my hands. Whereas like, let's bring it back to the Knicks. Like,
Yes.
hey, there's all these like generalist role player people. Like, let's put a team together of people that
Yeah.
can work together and do stuff. Like, then maybe not be the flashiest, highest scoring, whatever, but they get the job done.
They get the job done. I love bringing in the next.
So
For those who
yeah,
don't know
I
me,
think
I am
yeah,
in New York.
you
Very
definitely are.
thrilled about the events of the past few weeks.
Yeah, yeah. How was the night that the Knicks won? You went
Ugh,
out. Were you out and about that night,
I
or
was sort of out and about. I went
okay?
to one friend's house to watch the beginning of the game, uh, and then at 9, they were going to be, like, flipping back and forth between the Knicks game and the Scotland-Haiti World Cup game. So
Wow.
I said, "I can't do that." So I left at the first quarter, went to another
Yeah.
friend's house, to watch the game, and then it's like she lives a 6-block walk from me, so went
Oh.
downstairs after they won.
Mhm.
There were a bunch of people on the streets, tried to open a bottle of champagne, but the cork got stuck, and so we gave up, and then walked home with a few folks and just, like, everyone was out.
I
The
bet.
EMTs were driving slowly with their sirens on, so they didn't have anywhere to go, but they were celebrating. It was really fun.
Wow.
I heard, like, 3 different car speakers playing Empire State of Mind at 3 different
Sure.
on my walk home, so I didn't, like, go out and party, but I did get to experience
You were
the
you didn't
energy in
have to
my
go out. Yeah,
neighborhood. Yeah,
you were in it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so fun. And what a I mean, you don't know when that might happen again.
I don't know if it will happen again. Not to be,
Right.
no, I think it's
You
a new era, but still, like,
sure. Yeah, you just never
yeah,
know.
you never
Right.
know.
And so like to embrace it. And I've literally been just watching people's takes about it on YouTube the past couple days still. Just like
Yeah,
what's so and so say? What ESPN and what Stephen A. No, I don't care what Stephen A. Smith says, but go listen to this other stuff. Like
yeah,
it's so fun because again, it's like um all these teams that went out and got the flashy names and the big stars and put like the safe thing. Let's bring in this,
yeah.
delicately bringing it back into like the workspace kind of idea too.
I was gonna say,
That
if we don't pivot, Max Pete's gonna leave
yeah.
with his
Sorry. Oh, Max.
silly fury.
Oh, geez, Phil, you should be used to that. They won a Super Bowl like 4 minutes ago, didn't they?
I know, I know,
Come
I
on,
know.
come on. Smo's here. What's up, Smo? Smo's in New York City. That's so fun to
Oh,
see.
hey,
Cool.
Smo.
Yes, yes, so fun.
But yes, bringing it back to the workplace.
Mm.
Yeah, I appreciate the analogy. I don't know if I picked it.
And then like to I think to bring that also to expand it a bit for all the artists and creative people here that might be
Mhm.
on the chat is we're all so told to find our niche and narrow and like here's the one thing I do and here's the one thing I write about it. And it's like, and then whenever you do mention like, oh, be authentic and like, reveal a bit more yourself and that does there's a degree of how much you share. Like it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like you talking about the rash you got last week. Like you can guards and stuff and still be authentic in how you share and how real you are. Sorry
Yeah.
to be graphic, but
I love the really visual, you know, brought me in. Yeah, that's something, even in with my Substack, I started it, I said 3 years ago, a little
mhm.
more than 3 years ago. I'd been laid off for a second time out of three.
Mm,
I was 5.5 months pregnant. And I was like, I have all of this like energy swirling around in my brain. I have to do something with it.
yeah.
Um, while also job searching and, having this like impending scary deadline. And when I started it, I was like, well, I guess like my life's about to change. And that's, something that I could talk about. And so I put the categories and I was like, I guess parenting, I don't know. And then, as I've evolved, like I don't talk about parenting all that much. And every time I get, the notification, oh, your number, not I'm not trying to say like this happens a lot, but every now and then I will get a notification that says that I have reached the rising charts and it lasts 5 minutes to maybe 2 days at a time. But every time I get that, like your number 24, 37, or 85 in parenting, I'm like, am I? Like, I feel like a little bit of a fraud in that regard, but it's this pressure to, yeah, narrow in on yourself, focus in on yourself. I wrote an essay a couple months ago about, oh no, it was maybe last month. And it's called I'm a Bad Mommy Blogger, kind of about this exact thing where I am a parent and it's like very core to my identity, but it's so core to my identity that it's hard to tease it out and like talk about it as a thing. Whereas
Yeah.
it's just like this fact about me that it's how I interact with the world. So I love that, Max. Like I'm
Yes.
5'4", so I interact with the world like shorter than some people, right? Like I can't reach, like I interact with the world having to step on my tiptoes. I almost see it as that and less of a like, I don't know, a content driver. So yeah,
Mm,
I talk about that, but I also talk about some career stuff and like I have a podcast and I just interview people that I think are putting themselves out there. So the
mhm.
pressure to niche down it's real and it's hard to say, don't do it.
Right.
But it's also like to give that advice. But for me, it's felt more freeing to allow myself to just explore and write what makes sense and what sticks.
Sure.
And some of my favorite things that I've written or engaged with were just like a spark of ideas. And I'm like, I don't know how this fits in, but this is my thing. So I get to do whatever I want because it's mine.
Yeah. It kind of like in my world, in the music world, it feels like the artists that, had an album or two that sounded one way. And then
Mhm.
they're like, you know what? I want to expand. I want to like spread my wings. And like, if there's a backlash or whatever, like, which is such a bummer for some artists, like no, I want to grow. I want to do more. And like,
Yeah.
but the fans that come with them and support them, like they are out there. It's just that
Yeah.
the, the, the others are a little more noisy about it. But,
Yeah.
but
And
I
we
think
always like keep going now. I want to hear
yeah,
you.
I was just gonna say that it's easier to focus on the few noisy voices than it's like the unsubscribes. "Oh, no, I sent a
Mm-hmm.
newsletter and 5 people unsubscribed." Yeah, but 98.9% of people didn't unsubscribe, so
Hmm.
we don't need to pay attention to that little group of people.
Yeah. The music thing is so interesting. And it, I feel like we do this in other places. That example is just very it's a really good example where like everybody is compared to the first thing that they do and it's sort
Yeah.
of like this we're not allowing people to grow or to like stretch because it's like, well, you did this first and now you're kind of stuck there.
Mhm.
um and it's like, I don't know, if we judged every person we met or every friend we had or whatnot by their first impression,
Mm.
our first impression, I don't know how much how many people we would have in our lives. We don't all give the best first impression. We don't put our best work out there right away.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if the Beatles had stuck to what they did in that first album, the first few albums, they would not
Mhm.
have the legacy that they had. Not to say that those albums are bad, but the
Mhm.
growth and the transformation is tenfold. And that's
Right.
obviously an extreme music analogy. But, if Seth, you had never rebranded your newsletter to Social Media Escape Club because,
Oh.
well, people expect this to be a thing for musicians. And so how
Mhm.
dare you? Then, and I don't know if I would have connected with you, right?
Right.
Like, oh, he does a newsletter for metal. That's cool. Love that. And then I probably would like move
Mm.
on.
Right,
No offense.
yeah.
But
No, no, none taken, but it was a realization, it was in the midst of it, of, like, my own gut feeling, and also, like, wow, other people are resonating with this, and, like, not trying to be like a musician on stage where people walk out and you're like, "Wait, wait, no, I'll change it. I'll change it. I'll play whatever you want," like,
yeah,
not going that route, but, like, just listening and resonating, like, it was still true to me because my ultimate thing was, like, I just want creative people to be able to reach their audience. If it
mhm,
so if I weren't speaking directly to metal bands, like, oh, yeah, this could be for a lot more other people too. So, yeah, and then a 30-minute call with Sarah Faye back in the day too, of, like, 25 minutes into our 30-minute call, her saying, "I don't like the name. I don't like the name." Like, "Oh, Sarah, okay. Well, I had a gut feeling too. I didn't like it either. I wanted to change it,
mhm,
but hearing that from her was, a bit jarring at first, but also too, just, like, kinda like, "Oh, yeah, maybe she's right." And I
yeah,
think she was, like, changing the name and, like, starting to do weekly Zoom calls, like, changed everything, so, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
maybe
No,
that's
it's
it.
so true. It's like, and sometimes we need that practice and that, ability and permission to build in public, as is cool
Ye
to say these
Mhm,
days, because it lets you see what lands like immediately. I think that I am very much of that mindset. I'm very comfortable putting things out there that are half baked, that are not perfect, because I
mhm,
get a lot of information for what happens after they go out, after they go live.
mm,
Um, and I know some people are like, I want to make sure that the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, because like this represents me, and I think there's space for both of them. But I have found that if I sit on something for too long, I just spin in
mm,
cycles. I also love this. It's okay to suck at something that came in the comments. I'm such a big fan of I like to say, like, we're allowed to be bad at our hobbies. We're allowed to be
oh,
bad
yeah,
at the things that we do, and we're allowed to get better or not. Like, we're allowed to keep doing them. That's something I talked about with Amanda Jackson on her
yeah,
podcast episode of like, it's okay to like something and do it. She tells a story of taking a semester ice skating class in college in the Midwest, so I guess that's why they have ice skating classes. And she's like, I never got better, but I had so much fun. I was like, yeah, like I love that. So
yeah,
shout out to that comment.
yeah, totally. Sucking at something and to yeah, and I think a degree of that too, like, speaking of like, I could speak to that with the newsletter, like, the newsletter back, when I started this in 2021, changed the name in 2023. Like, I coulda kept doing that, but then it was like, I knew I just wanted to talk to more people about this. And it was like, I'm just gonna start Zoom calls and, like, invite people on. And, I see other people and how they lead calls and how they do it, and it's, sometimes unsettling. It's like, wow, they do it so great. They're so good. They command the room. And it was like, do I need do I need to command all that kind of stuff. Like the fear and doubt and stuff popped up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think I've gotten a little better at it over 3 years, hopefully. But like still at the same time, it's like I'm still just trying to be totally me in it. And going back to like, a couple people unsubscribe or a couple people don't come back to a call or something like that. Okay. Like the people that do show up, the people that do stick around, the people that are just like, hey, this is fun. Cool. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah, and I think even having people that showed up and like came and then said, you know what, this isn't for me. I think that is something that we're not very good at celebrating either. We see that
Mm,
as like a downfall or not a downfall, but just a failure point, like, "Oh, well, I couldn't get them," and this is probably my tech product brain that's gonna come in a little bit, but, like, they didn't retain.
They didn't convert.
They didn't convert. They spent 1 day with me, and their retention curve went flat, and yes, sure, fine. Obviously, like, if we're talking about growth and we're talking about building something that is sticky and whatever, we want more people to stick around over time, but just having something that was interesting enough for somebody to, like, sign up for, to spend their time, especially for something like a Zoom call, like, that's asking a lot. That's, I'm
Mhm.
at a certain place at a certain time. I'm participating to some degree, right?
Yep.
And so I think that those little moments also are like, I have something out there that is resonating enough that people even want to check it out.
Mhm.
And then they decide it's not for them. That's fine. And people are still sticking around and coming back time and time again. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's more to just like, well, 5 people came today and two yesterday or whatever. I got two unsubscribes.
Mhm.
Boo hoo. To
Yeah.
your point, all those people didn't.
Yeah, yeah, and, who was I saw someone, I forget their name, we had a little interaction on Substack notes earlier, just like, they were saying like, "Oh, I wanna do a Substack live to read my poetry, but, like, will anyone show up? And, like, is it dumb?" And, they said cringe. Would it be cringe?
Ugh, you're supposed
And it
to
was
tag me every time you see the word
right, I
cringe on
know.
Substack.
So yeah, hashtag, TM, trademark, but it was just like, "No, do it, dude, just start, like, be bad in front of 2 people. Be bad that no one shows up, whatever, like, next week, more people might, or not, like, whatever." And, like, also too, I think it's good just to stretch our own wings
Mhm.
and do things that might feel a little unsettling, because it's really easy to get into comfort zone.
Yeah,
Real
yeah,
easy.
yeah, and when we are stretching ourselves and when we already are feeling vulnerable or that we're putting ourselves out there in a certain way, those moments of only however many people showed up can feel really personal. But
Mhm.
there's a
Oh.
comment in the chat to that point, right? It's like, sometimes it's just like, "I was busy, I was tired, I forgot," right? And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
and I mean, I am very good at, taking things personally. I have worked very hard on that and, like, the rejection sensitivity that comes with that. But, it's really easy to, like, this is a reflection of me and how these people feel about me. It's like, well,
Mm.
no, we all have our own lives. We're all coming, at the stuff from our own perspectives.
Yep,
Um,
big time.
yeah, and it's hard. As you know, Seth, I started this, like, mini series. We'll see where it goes. It's like co-working, but
Mm.
it's not quiet. So I call them water cooler chats. And the
Yeah.
idea is, when you work in an office, I've never had an office with a water cooler, but it is the analogy. But when you work in an office, there are these gathering places. They're by the coffee pot, they're in the lunchroom, they're, wherever you may be. And there are these little pockets of the day where you're interacting with people, you're not really getting work done. Maybe you've, like, brought your laptop to the counter and you're, like, clicking around. But um so I've started the series where it's really just like, chatting, and I've had one other person. I've had calls of two, of four, and then maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, I had a call and nobody showed up. And, like, a
Mm.
couple people had RSVP'd, so I didn't cancel it. And I just, like, sat and I had my Google Meet open and I was like, all right, like, I guess if I were at the office and I was hanging out by the coffee pot and I had my laptop open, I'd probably start getting into work until someone walked by. And so I just, like, kept working, and before I knew it, the hour was over, and I had kind of forgotten that I was sitting on a Zoom call by myself, um, and that I was waiting for people to show up to this thing that I did. Um, and I did have this moment where, like, I think when I started it, that fear that you mentioned was very much present of what if nobody shows up, right? I was like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, my worst fear in doing this is coming true. And it was just like, it totally, I don't know, I was pretty surprised at how well it just rolled off my back, and I was like, I didn't
Mhm.
feel bad, I didn't feel dumb, I didn't feel, like,
Mhm.
cringy about it, um, and I knew it wasn't a reflection of me. It was, like, kind of it was, like, a new time that I was trying out and trying
Yeah.
to, like, make the West Coast people happy, but also catch the East. It was, like, a Tuesday after a long weekend, so I think one of the people that had RSVP'd, it was, like, really early their time, so it was just, like, it wasn't about me, it was just I was the one that, had expected something, so,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't I can't sit here and say, oh, I did X, Y, and Z, and now I'm immune to rejection or I'm immune to that work. But that was like I guess technically, right, if we're looking at it in black and white, a failure that did not feel like a failure.
Mm.
Bye, mom. Thank you for coming.
Oh my
Sorry, my
goodness.
mom put in the chat that she
Thanks.
has a grandparent
Yay.
appointment.
Yeah. Well, thank you,
Talk to you soon.
Patricia. See you.
See you Friday or Saturday. I don't know when we're coming up, but I'll text you about that. Sorry, guys.
All good. All good. This is live. This is what we do.
This is what you
Fine.
do live. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the
Um,
rawness. It's growing on
uh,
me.
um, Omix Intel. I'm sorry, probably saying that wrong. I'd like to learn more about your live chats. It's the best
Mm.
part of life when we connect.
Oh,
What? Well, I mean, that's the ultimate thing is the connection. And so much of what I'm writing about on Social Media Escape Club anymore, I'm like a broken record of like connecting. And like, it's less strategic. It's less like delete the app and do these quick 5 things to like not be on, like, it's less tactics and strategy and stuff. And it's just more, um, getting together and talking about this stuff to feel less alone in this stuff. Like, you're talking about the whole, like, kind of trying to make this work on your own, but also keeping an eye out on the work front. Like, that's a lot of people, and like, hey, you're not alone and this and that. And like, we're just trying to make this stuff work. And I think that's the biggest part in a lot of this before growth and audience growth and more subscribers and going viral. It's just like, have a couple people in your life that you can talk to about this stuff.
yeah.
But, the live connection is just so huge, especially in this world where so much can be AI automated and published and sent and regurgitated, and it's just like it's like kind of becoming a bore. And
Mhm.
then so how we humanize it and how we bring our true selves to all this is what gets, I don't know, 32 people on a chat on, Wednesday afternoon. Like, okay, so
Yeah. And it's the thing that's going to continue to differentiate us as machines get better at doing machine things.
yeah. Yeah, as it gets better at just spitting out and replicating and whatever of like, I mean, just the chatbot thing of like customer service stuff,
Mm,
like, is kind of like, what? Like, it's trying to be human and like, let me help you out with that. Like, get
yeah.
out of here. So, uh, so doing that, I want to say hard work, but it shouldn't be hard work. It's us talking, it's us having conversations, and I know it's been easy to get away from that. What with online ordering apps and stuff, like, I've had that conversation with a bunch of people just about like I'll still go to a coffee shop to work and like still talk to baristas and talk. I almost said the word engage and it was just like, stop. I'm not engaging. No
Yeah.
engaging.
No engaging.
No engaging.
Talk.
Just talk. Yeah,
Get
have a
to know.
conversation, get to know, right. And just watching the stream of people that like mobile order,
Mm,
no offense to anyone that does mobile ordering or what, but it's just like, just quick in, out,
yeah.
like, and I'm always like, what are you the CEO of some company, or like, how do you not have time to, I mean, I get it. People are busy, but I'm just like, wow, like, it's just one moment to like, just have a nice a quick conversation with a barista or something like that. It's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, just an
Yeah.
observation.
No, absolutely. And like, in this post pandemic world, I do think that those effects of the isolation are still present.
Mm,
I never thought I would work remote. It wasn't on my radar that that was like something that could happen.
yeah.
And now I don't think I'll ever go into an office full time again.
Oof.
Um, and yet there are some like, I think of how many, oh, I love Dory Clark. I'll look at that, Jeff. Like how many people, and I'm an extreme example because I lived in New York City, right? I would take the subway to
Mm,
work before that. I lived in San Francisco and would take the train to work there. So, I obviously like, but I would get to interact with so many people before even stepping foot in my
yeah.
office. And now it's like my husband, my toddler. If I take him to school, then like the other parents I see along the way and
Hmm.
the teachers, and like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
and then I can go the whole day and that being my, social battery or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and it's only like this year that I'm starting to see like, oh, that's not great. Like that's something that I could probably do more
Mm.
to address. So yeah, like even when I go to the coffee shop, I am trying to like take my headphones off and like,
Mhm.
how's it going? I would always ask how's it going before ordering, but like actually responding, right? And just like drawing that out a little bit more. Because especially being a New Yorker, it's very easy to put your blinders on, like I'm doing my thing.
Mhm.
It's not my business. Have a good life. People around me.
When you said, like, ask someone how they're doing and really ask them, I'll do that at my one local Starbucks, and, like, I'll sometimes, like, how they'll be like, "Oh, what can I get you?" And I'm like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they're just like, they're like, no one, like, the bar is low for, like, decent, just trying to be decent and kind, and, like, if an order is messed up, my favorite is when an order is messed up, because for me, like, if that's the worst thing to happen in a day, that's a good day.
Yeah, I would
Like
agree.
like, okay, you got the wrong whatever, like,
A
I
human made a human mistake.
yeah, but I love going up and telling, like, I love going up and bring, like, because I'm just so chill about it. I'm like, "Hey, it's totally co." They're like, "Oh my goodness. Well," I'm like, "No, no, no, it's fine. It's totally fine." Like, I'll sit in some coffee shops, and at one time I saw someone come in and they were like, "Hi, I was just in the drive-through and the service was really bad, and I'm wondering if you could do anything about that." I was like, "What the what?"
Oh man.
Like, just chill, you're in your air-conditioned car,
Yeah.
just getting a drink, like, be have a good day, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ugh, yeah.
Everyone's having their own kinda day, but it's just like the humanity of it.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that everybody needs to work in retail or food service at some point in
Mm.
their life for like
Have
6 months.
what's your, early work background been?
So early work, I started
Yeah.
babysitting when I was like 12. I would just like,
Wow.
and it was like a friend of my mom's who is not in the chat anymore, or like my old teacher and his kids, and like, his
Mhm.
sister lived like 2 blocks away. So it was not a big deal. But
Yeah.
I started like having little babysitting jobs here and there at 12. And then they became more regular throughout high school. So I like had this job where I would walk the kid like 4 blocks to this apartment and make 12 or like to an appointment and just drop them off. And I made like $12 a day for that. And no, like middle high school, that's pretty good. And then I did a lot of like after school pickup and stuff. And then in college, I worked at this on campus cafe,
Mm.
and also worked in the controller's office doing like filing. And I got to sit at the desk and do my homework. And like if the phone ever rang, which at my small liberal arts college of 1,500 people, it really never did.
Mhm.
Um, and what else did I do in college? And then I was like, a mentor and things like that. And then my senior year of college, I got a job at the Apple store right next to my campus. If there's anybody here from the Baltimore area, it was the Towson Town Center Apple store. And started working there my senior year. My plan post grad was to teach for a little bit, like join Teach for America, become a teacher. I had a minor in education, study for the GREs, and then go to grad school in like 2 to 3 years for like, to do something in the social sciences space. And then I thought I would like work in DC on policy. That is not what I do now. And I graduated and I was like, I don't want to do any of this. And I have this job and I can go full time and I can make as much money as a teacher.
Mhm.
So I stuck there, made a lot of good friends, met my husband, my now husband. We obviously were not married then, but I spent 4 years working in Apple retail. And I've seen some stuff.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've seen various levels of patience. I have, yeah,
People in their Apple products are very
people
important to
and their
them.
Apple products. Yeah, I've
Mhm.
seen promises that a phone was nowhere near water, and then I've opened it up and it
Oh,
it was like wet inside. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I've gotten really good at delivering bad news
Ooh.
from
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, my skin thickened. It was also kind of the first place where I, interacted with the public in that way of just like all of these different people from all over.
Mhm.
Because that's a really interesting store. Again, if there is anybody here from the Baltimore area, let me know. But um, it's in a suburb of Baltimore in Baltimore County, but it's the only store really for like a very like there's no other real store by there except for one maybe like 20 or 30 miles further in the burbs. So it serves the city, it serves like the Roland Park, which is like the cushy area. It serves
Mm.
your more like blue collar area. So you really get a really diverse picture of
Yeah.
the city, and so you're really interacting with different areas of the public, and the people who work there are really, like, really diverse, and I feel like it was the first time that my peers were not people that were very much cut from the same cloth as me, and I think that was a really important learning experience too. Um, Grew up in New York City, right, like,
Mm.
kind of was in that bubble, went to this really, really progressive summer camp, like, really. So there was in that little bubble, went to a liberal arts college, like, that was its own bubble, so it was kind of the first time that my bubble burst in many different ways. But I think it was really important to do that at that age.
The bubble burst. Yeah. Of getting out of your again, the comfort zone thing. Like, my bubble burst was my first job in New York City. Uh, Moving to Flushing,
Mm,
taking the 7 train into Manhattan at at Stern College for Women, turning on DVD players. Like, what? Like, it was just there was such the get like, the train ride, Grand Central, again, the Stern College for Women, like,
yeah. When
it
did you move
was,
to New York City?
2004,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
2004, so I worked there for 2 years, turned on DVD players and, you know, setting up projectors and microphones for events and stuff like that, and, it was and then too, that was, a Jewish yeshiva university,
mhm.
Stone College for what, like, so for me, I was just a kind of small town Pennsylvania boy. I was just like, "What?" And
Yeah,
it was amazing. Like, it couldn't have been a better introduction to New York City for me, like,
yeah,
to do that. Scared out of my mind most of the time of, like, everything going on and stuff, but it was just like, "Okay." And that, yeah,
yeah,
that was the real bubble burst thing of, like, there's just, the world is so expansive.
truly. Yeah, and for me, I think I mean, I was 18 to 22, so there's part of that too in what I'm
Mm.
about to say, but I was like I had just had this assumption that I don't wanna say worldly, but I was like, I grew up in New York. Have traveled. I have family abroad. Like I felt like I understood the world.
Mhm.
Um, and it was almost like going to a smaller space with like, and yeah. Um, I don't know. It was just, it kind of was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, I am around a lot of diversity every day in my day to day life and taking the subway and whatnot. A fun connection Seth and I have everyone is that while he was doing that commute from Flushing to Manhattan, I was also doing my own Queens to Manhattan commute in Woodside, where we lived when I was in high school. So I like to think in my head that Seth and I were just doing these like parallel
Yeah.
subway commutes. You were probably on the 7. I was not. I was on the M or the
Okay.
R or
Yeah.
the V train. I don't know if you remember that. EVT doesn't exist anymore. Had a
Oh, okay, yeah.
short shelf life, but yeah, I like to think of our paths crossing underground in
A
ways. And here we
Absolutely, subway
the
platforms or
V
whatever.
still remembers the V.
Mm. Yeah, the V. Sorry, just replying to this real quick.
Yeah, go
The
for
V
it.
train.
I'm all for good multitask.
Um, no, someone, yeah, in the chat just mentioning
Oh, nice.
Wilkes-Barre, which was, growing up in Stroudsburg, the Poconos, I would go up to Wilkes-Barre all the time. Wilkes-Barre, which is also Scranton. The Office. That's where,
Yeah.
I went up there for shows. punk rock shows and stuff like that. And
Is that where you would meet in the Wegmans parking lot?
yes, the Wegmans parking lot in Wilkes-Barre, like on IRC the night before, like, hey, meet you there, and like somehow we did, and such wild stuff. And but I think the wildness of that, the wildness of the youth and the trust, but goes to a thing that kind of what we were talking about was like the conversations, the being around the people. I've just heard people, yeah, the younger crowd going to record stores,
Mhm.
um, going to listening parties. There's a buddy of mine in Louisville, Kentucky, who talked about there's a popular record store there that it's so popular they have to open up another location. And
Whoa.
like, yeah, and like these like kids drive they drive from 2 hours away to come to some of these listening parties and stuff like that. And
Wow.
again, I think it just goes back to conversation. I think it just goes back to like being around people and like
Yeah.
like the comfort zone goes also to the just that the who knows who you're going to run into at that
Mhm.
listening party, at that show, at that job.
Yeah.
um in an era right now where it's just so easy, like as you mentioned earlier, you can work from home and never talk to anybody.
Yeah. And many people do. I think it's easy to get comfortable in that if you're not aware of it, and
Hmm.
especially I am one that has introverted tendencies, so, like, I can tell myself that I'm really happy if I'm not super social, and then I take a step back, I'm like, "No, I think, like, that is a piece that needs attention and needs love and needs filling as well."
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Which is,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, part of the stuff that we see here on Substack so much is which I think is the antidote of it. Of like, oh, how do I grow? And why doesn't Substack help me grow? And this, that, and the other. And it's just like they should do this, they should do that.
Mhm.
And it's just like how much stuff is in our own control that we can
Yeah.
do ourselves, which I think is so much more important than expecting these platforms or these outside things to like help us or deliver us to save us. Like even that like job search stuff, which is for me too, like years back of like, I gotta make some money. Like
Yeah.
I had to do some shit, you know? And
Yeah.
like I think there's a lot of that right now of like, we gotta do some stuff. We gotta try some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very much in that place now where going back to, like, the question you asked me at the beginning, right? What am I doing now?
Mm,
Um, I was very intentional about, like, March and April, I'm gonna let whatever happens happen. Like, I'm not gonna force anything, right? I'm
mhm.
already not going about this in the way
You
something
just
lined
broke
up,
up.
they would tell
Oh,
oh, I
there
broke
you
up?
are. Yeah, you
Am I
broke
back?
up. Go ahead. You're back. You're back.
What was the last thing you heard?
The being intentional.
Okay, yeah, like,
Yeah.
just those first 2 months kind of, like, letting myself do it, um, because I knew that had I quit my job in the way that all of the advice givers and the what's the word I'm looking for? The, like
The
not
gurus.
influencers, the gurus, thank you. If I followed their advice, I would have had something lined up. I would have been working my 9 to 5, my 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5 or after my whatever, and kind of hustling my way into and I knew I could not do that while in this job, and
Mhm.
I knew that trying to just, like, quit and then come that next Monday, like, force it, I know myself, and I know that wouldn't work for me, so I've been really slow and intentional and, like, trying to build, and the second client that I didn't have fell into my lap, honestly, it's just somebody that I worked with before,
Yeah.
and, it's extending things a little bit, but there is that reality of, like, money does not grow on trees. It runs out. I have human mouths to feed and
Mm,
animal mouths to feed. And so, I think for me, I am getting to the point where it's like, okay, there are some things that I have to do that are going to be uncomfortable. And like that is starting to like doing more direct outreach. Like that's my next
yeah.
step is like, and I hate it. I hate that I have to do it. And I know, and I have to, before I do it, I have to like, I don't want to just like push through it and like grin and bear it. I wanna find a way to not hate it. And so
Mm,
that's kind of what I've been working on this month or, like, that's kind of what's in my headspace is how do I like, I know that, Carly Valancy is the queen of reaching out. How do I channel that energy into something that I do not like doing? I do not like putting myself out there. I do not like asking for things. I do not like asking for help. I like to be picked. Even like asking people to come on my podcast is uncomfortable. Like I would
Mm,
much prefer someone be like, "I hear you have a podcast. Can I come on?" And be like, "Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that's like one less thing I have to do."
yeah.
Um, so that is the area that I know I need to grow in, and it's sort of like will only serve me well. It's really hard to do. So that's kind of what is circling in my head is like that's the next step. And maybe nothing will come of it, but if I don't reach out to people, nothing will come of it.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out how to do it in
That
a way that's not just like LinkedIn, hey, I see you, da da da. Like, do you need someone?
yeah. I
Like,
hear you on that picked part, 'cause I wanna get picked, like, cause you know, I was a music blogger in 2001, parlayed that into working at AOL Music, like, I started a whole metal blog, we were one of the biggest ones on the internet for a minute, like, I really wanted someone to pick me. "Hey, we saw
mhm.
what you did there, you should come work here."
Yeah,
No one freaking did that.
yeah, yeah. That's all I want.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, and it was like, "Damn it." I had to go picking and here and there and interviewed and get form
Mm,
rejection
yeah,
emails back and stuff. It's like, "No, I."
yeah,
But that's taught me really, like, that outside world, the world, they don't care, they weren't paying attention. But I still
exactly.
do work with a couple people from that era. But those are people that I had connections with and like, we didn't just talk because I had that position, we talked because we, like, found a connection and, like, uh, uh, a rhythm there, and, like, so, yes, some of those people I work with today, but, like, yeah, obviously, you're not, this isn't Seth will give you the answer of how to do that, but I'm
Well, Seth gave
acknowledging,
me the
like,
answer of how to do
what what
it.
maybe someone in the chat has but no, to your point, like, yeah, to have to reverse that then and be like, seek out and, like, try to drum up that work or that interest or that whatever, it's
It's hard.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's something that I have like, yeah, it's that pick, wanting to be picked, I think, probably stems from like social interactions I had as a kid. I remember in college, like a group of my friends went out to lunch once and they didn't invite me. And I
Mm,
was like so upset about it. And they're like, you were just like all in the library and we got hungry and you like had class. So I'm like, oh, right. And it's like so easy to be like, and Catherine, I see your comment like you're doing direct outreach right now. It's so funny. Before I asked Steph to be on my podcast and was like, and I would love to go live if that is something you would be open to. I can't remember watching a live with you and someone else was like, I want to do that. Like, why can't I do that? And I was like, well, Steph doesn't know you want to do that. Like, you never really talked to him one on one. So
yeah, yeah.
maybe that's like the first step.
Mhm. It is, yeah, that no one, like, every you mentioned earlier, everyone's living their own life and doing their own
Hmm.
thing, and, like, they
Hmm.
only have so many plates they can spin at once,
Hmm.
and, like, I mean, to Catherine's, point here, you're doing direct outreach right now. That's really what I've thought about with doing these video stuff, doing the live
Yeah.
stuff, doing the Zoom calls. Like, my thing is, I'm sure you've seen this too. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this too. Oh, to just do one-to-one calls. Just book me for a one-to-one call, right? Like, 250, 400, like, book me for 1,000 for 2, and it's just like, wow, the big money, it's right there.
Yeah.
But, like, I've seen a lot of people have those on their sites and talk to those people, and no one clicks them. No.
Yeah.
And not because they suck, not because, they're losers or don't know what they're talking about. No one knows who they are,
Yeah.
and it's a lot, it's a to hop on a Zoom call, like one of my Zoom calls with the group, you said earlier, there's a degree of trust there, like, I'm gonna get
Hmm.
on this call with a bunch of strangers, I hope it's cool. Oh, now you want me to pay $500 for that? Like, I don't know these people, like, that person maybe, so, like, doing so much of this video stuff has in the back of my mind been like, this is how I'm gonna get a little closer to
Yeah.
hopefully doing one of them every now and again. Like, I'm not trying to, like, build a consulting business, but, like, I don't know, like,
And
maybe, I don't know.
maybe or like whatever else is out there that's meant to, right? Like come from
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in all of that of like you there's so much that in my life that I could never have predicted, good and bad, neutral. And so yes, it's I have this desire to control things or to know where things are headed, and that is very normal and natural, but also trying to show up in ways of just being open to like whatever this could bring, having no
Mhm.
expectations other than I'm gonna hop on a live today and have great conversation with Seth. And like if that ends there, that's I got everything I wanted out of it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just being willing to do things, being curious enough to be okay with wherever they go, I have found has been very important, especially for me in this stage that I'm at, right? Of being okay with like figure and being having the privilege to be able to figure it out on the fly. I
Mhm.
do acknowledge that, being able to
Sure.
get my books in order to do this is was not a feat and is not something that everybody can do. And it's something that I could not have done in many, many different times in my life. But yeah, just like that openness of, this is what I think I want, but also like there could be something else. And if that's what's
Yeah.
meant for me, then cool.
Right. Right.
It's funny that you bring up the call thing because like 2 days ago, I was just updating all my Substack settings as I do. And I like added this line on my founding membership of like, which I only have two founding members. One is my mother and one is my friend Ashley,
Yeah.
who are my first two subscribers on Substack. And
Amazing.
I just was like, "Hey, book a 30-minute call with me to chat. Like,
Mhm.
why not? Nobody's using that anyway.
Mm.
Like, if somebody wants to click on it because they want to spend 30 minutes with me, fine."
Yeah.
So it's funny that you bring that up.
Yeah. Oh,
We have not talked about that before.
right. Look, yeah, that one-to-one call stuff, because again, it's brought up so much for people that go freelance, for people that, "Oh, you know so much, you should do one-to-one calls," and it's just
Yeah.
like, and you and I, we see so many people talking about that on Substack or different websites and stuff, like, "Book a one-to-one
Yeah.
call," and it's like, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I've done them for free. Like if somebody I've had some early career PMs especially reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, sure. Like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to help because
Sure.
the industry what it was when I was entering it, one, I kind of got my first PM job because of a perfect storm of perfect situations and like it just like all kind of fell into place.
Sure.
Um, but like the industry has changed, getting into it has changed. But I was like, but I'm happy to chat for 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have a friend that works at like the venture capital fund at Hopkins. I didn't know they had one, but they do. He works there. And I
Okay.
started like doing some, just early student founders of just chatting with them and
Yeah.
just to like do a little something with my time. And I
Mhm.
had somebody ask, like, what do you like? Do you think we should start fundraising now? Like, I'm not the person to ask about that. Like, I will not give you advice about fundraising.
Sure.
like
Yeah.
also knowing your limits, I think is important.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's again, that's a matter of expectations too, is and again, why I do so much video stuff like this is like kinda people kinda know what they're walking into if
Yeah,
they're gonna book a one-to-one call with me. Like,
yeah,
it's see how my vibes and my goofiness and whatever, like, yeah, but I'm not Mr., "You need to post 19 times a day," or something like that. I'm not, yeah, I'm probably
yeah.
not the what's your content calendar strategy? I'm not the guy for that, so
It's vibes. My content calendar
vibes,
is
yes.
vibes.
You are the lead magnet. You are the
Yeah,
artist. You are
yeah.
the magic here. Embrace that, like, um, because if you're just trying to fit in the machine and stuff, like, there's enough people that can do that, and, like, I don't
Hmm.
think any of us wanna do that.
Yeah,
Wanna do
I
special
agree.
cool stuff.
Yeah, if I were good at being in the machine, I would still be at the job that I left. Um,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah.
I worked at AOL at a time when it was just a
Mm-hmm.
sea of cubicles and everybody, like, kinda dressed for that job. I was the metal guy, so I wore band shirts and, like, had bands come in and stuff with tattoos and stuff. Like, I did not fit in at all. And I after a while, I looked around and I was like, I don't think I wanna keep doing this. Not here.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah. It's good to know. It's good to have that information, right? Of like, okay, I tried it,
Mhm.
not for me. It's so
Yeah.
funny that you say like there were cubicles at AOL because if had they launched, 10 years later, there would not be a cubicle in sight and they
Oh,
have
they
a
eventually
pinball
moved the
machine and a coffee draft and
they eventually moved the entire music team into a conference room.
they're like, you guys
Because of course they did. You're shoulder to shoulder now with your
at
coworkers,
like
like,
one little table.
uh-huh, that's what
Oh,
they did.
that's rough.
I'm glad I was
Yeah.
not there for that, but,
Yeah.
um, I like how you mentioned, though, that first PM job you got was you said was just kinda out of the blue or a lot of different things lined up, right?
Yeah, it was like all these, like, choices that I made years ago had to have happened in order for me to get that job, and I
Yeah.
can explain it. I don't know how long we're gonna go for, but I can walk through it, and
Yeah, yeah.
you
I'm
can cut
good
me
till
off if you
about
need to.
yeah, if I'm good till
I'm
quarter
good.
after, but okay.
Sweet. Yeah, perfect. Me too.
Alright, cool, cool.
Um,
Bonus time.
yeah, an hour is tough. I've learned that in podcast
It right,
reporting.
right.
Um, but so after Apple, I moved to the Bay
Mhm.
Area, or
Yep.
when I was still at Apple, I moved to the Bay Area because my now husband got a job at Apple corporate as a designer. So,
Mhm. Mm,
as one does, moved to the South Bay Area, and then we moved up to San Francisco because I was not the place in the country for me.
mhm.
And I was there for something had happened with my transfer. So I transferred between stores, and I like wasn't sure if they actually had the job that they told me that they had. So I like got on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, tech jobs, those are here. And I just like found this like one company that did ed tech, and I had that education background. I like
Mhm.
did a lot of student teaching. So I had that education. They were looking for someone specifically to come in and like work with the operations for their customer support team.
Yeah.
So like applied, I got it. I ended up transferring as a genius to that store and left after like 4 weeks. So that was kind of like my startup entry, and
Yeah.
like started, tinkering with systems and like working alongside PMs. And I would take, here's what customers are saying and like deliver that to the
Mm.
PMs. And like, oh, that's what a PM does. Kind of took me a while to understand it, honestly, but
Mhm.
kind of slowly got there. Worked at two other startups after that one in the Bay Area, Allbirds. They were in the news today for changing their name again.
Heard of
If you
them,
have
yeah,
Allbirds
yeah.
stock, congratulations. I do not. And then I worked at Away, and at those jobs, I was managing customer support teams and also again doing a lot of like systems operations, like
Yeah.
implementing new chats, implementing like offshore call centers, like implementing a new ticketing system, right? So like
Mm.
those like gritty tech things that I didn't really have the background for, but just kind of like
You figured it
was the
out.
one that liked tinkering. And so I
Yeah.
figured it out and did it. And then I got really into Peloton during the pandemic, as one does,
Sure.
as one might have done. Um, got my bike, was like really was I think I hit 100 rides in like my first month or something insane like that. And I the things that I liked about that job that I had at Away was like all of the systems and like the techie stuff, and
Yeah.
that was sort of slowly falling off my plate just because we didn't need it anymore. So I started looking, and a job at Peloton just was like popped up on my radar. It was like member support technology manager. I was like, I could do that, and
Yeah.
so I applied. And I got on a call with the head of the department, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. It was like a very like IT focused systems background, like really niche role. And they also thought that I, was not a fit. But she was like, I have a more junior level on my team. It is like below your level. I was a senior manager at that point at Away, but I can pay you more than you're making. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I did it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll get this long story short, but an internal job opened up for a PM on the app team, which is like exactly what I'd wanted to do. I think the kind of the parallel thread is like throughout this time is still came back to that as a job as something that I would want to do, but had no idea how to enter the space because it felt
Mm.
like people were like, I knew someone, I got a transfer. Like, I graduated college. You were the kids that were working in tech, especially at like a liberal arts college, were like the computer science majors, right?
Mm.
None of
Yeah.
us, nobody else understood that that was something that you could even get into.
Yeah.
maybe like the business kids, but like even like the marketing girls weren't trying to marketing people, sorry. Um, like they weren't even trying, like, I don't think any of us understood that that was something that we could do. Whereas I
Yeah.
think kids like 2, 3 years younger than us did understand that. That's just how rapidly things changed.
Yeah.
So in parallel, I was like, really curious about it, started talking to people, reading books, like podcasts, doing that whole thing. And I applied for this role. It was posted externally, and I made my way through the interview process and landed that role. And once I had product manager at Peloton on my resume, that was it. I got laid off 7 months later with like my boss and her boss and a
Oh,
lot of other people on my team.
ugh.
But that was on my resume and
Yeah.
served me very well. Um, and so, I obviously had to make specific choices to get there, but I that's not something that I mapped out, right? Like that wasn't a 5-year plan that you would get if you
Mhm.
work at one of the big four firms where you're like, I'm going to be a junior associate. And then in a year and a half, if I check all of these boxes, I become a senior associate. Um, but I just trusted that all of these little decisions that I made would get me to the right point, and they did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting for me too, like, because to think of, like, having the choices you made years ago and how, like, to get that first ed tech kinda thing. Like,
Yeah.
you went to school for that, which got your foot in the door, which, like, and that was X amount of years ago, and, like, there's so much of that that plays into, I think, what all of us try to do, and, like, also speaks to just the, uniqueness of, like, we're all qualified. There's, like, I don't know, there's so many things out there that are only, like, the only qualified person of the bucket of people that can do it is, like, such a small bucket of people that have this experience, and this experience. So, I mean, that's how so much is in the music industry is, like,
Yeah.
it's not like, "Oh, go to school for music business." What I guess you could, I don't know. But like, so many of the
I
people
think
I work
Berkeley
with.
has like a business track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally. Yeah,
They
that's
like make all the
definitely
music majors like, okay, minor in this so you can do something else.
there's totally that, yes. But, like, so many people I knew, like, that are now, like, where they're at, like, running companies and businesses, like, booked shows or managed bands or ran a
Mhm.
record label,
Mhm.
like, out of the trunk of their car. Like, that's what they did. That's how they did it. And, like, there was so little, like, uh, um and then so to go from that to, like, oh, then you work at a real label and what it's just like having that bit of experience going back and back and back. Um, I think which is one of the fun things of, like, just having so much experience doing so many different other things, and, like, maybe they're not the things that you seek out and are super stoked for, but, like, whatever, maybe I can try this, maybe I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true. And like, yeah, I don't know, it's hard to tell that story of how I got that first job without everything else. Because if I
Yeah,
had just said, "Oh, well, I got a job at Peloton," and then that would have
sure.
assumed that I had like this IT background,
Mm,
which I for sure didn't. So it was like it's this interesting balance. I don't like to say that it was luck because that devalues the work that I've done, but also it was sort of this just like perfect storm of
right place, right
my
time, right?
application got through, right?
Yeah.
Because like in 2020, your application could still get through to a human being. And like
Mhm.
the recruiter said, sure, close enough. And I am very aware that if I, were a couple of years ahead, or rather behind, I guess,
Mm,
if I were going through all of that now or even a couple of years ago, I know that that path would not have been the same. Um,
right.
just because of the way we looked at all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. It's very to me, so did that, spent 5 years as a PM, and now I'm in this space where I don't know if I want to do that anymore. I know that I can't just do that anymore. I wrote an essay about that a couple of weeks ago. I
Yeah.
can't just be a PM anymore. Um, but yeah, I think just, industry changing it.
Yep.
I really got into it because I loved the problem solving and like creating things for people. And that just feels like it's a lot less of the job at a lot of places. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
then, boy, that enters into the whole self-employment thing, or
Yeah.
trying to do things with other people. It's such a scary, I mean, nothing's guaranteed, any of it.
Nothing's
And
guaranteed.
no, and so, like, um, I mean, I only got to do what I got, like, because I started a music blog in 2001 and put it on my monster.com resume, and a headhunter found me in 2006 for,
I believe monster.com didn't come up on
for
our podcast.
for a 3-month contract. I left
Yeah.
that full-time job at Yeshiva University with paid benefits and all that stuff, like,
Mm.
I left that for a 3-month contract, and it didn't work out technically. Like, it didn't
Right.
I didn't get hired. The person came back from maternity leave and was right back to work. I'm like, "Okay."
Mhm.
Um, I went to work at Field& and Stream magazine the next year. I was the web producer there. I built photo galleries of, like, bikini babes with guns
Oh my god.
in 2007, yeah, with
Web
their
producer.
CMS and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I had a
Homegrown?
I forget what it was, a tragedy it was. It was
Yeah.
such garbage.
They often are.
Who else was garbage too?
Yeah.
They all are. But yeah, and just, did that and then went back to AOL and, like, started a metal blog, and but, like, again, like, none of that led to, like, "Oh, now I'm this VP of whatever." That didn't work out like that at all, but, like, just enough to stay afloat, like, food on the table and
Yeah.
rent paid, so.
Yeah. And that I think I'm realizing, right, what my threshold is for earning, if you will.
Mm.
I think that just the tides are changing where it is rare to see somebody spend their career at one company
Oh, yeah.
these days. And
Mhm.
that is becoming less, very obviously. And I really love Leah Znaimer talks about this. She talks about it on the podcast episode I did. She talks about it in her writing as well of the recharge, where like these decisions to work freelance, to take a 3-month contract, to edit bikini gun photos, like those don't have to be the story. They can be
Mm-mm.
part of the story.
Yeah.
And that I had sort of had that in the back of my head when I quit, but like hearing her say that and reading those words really resonated with me because it's like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I can get another job. There's a
Mhm.
little bit of a part of me that's a little freaked out because I've sort of put out there that I don't want to do the thing that I was doing full time. So, that's a later problem I'll deal with, how to position myself should I
Yeah.
need to go back to the full-time work world. Um, but it's like seeing these things as she talks, she's quoting somebody here, but like talks about it as like lily pad moments. So it's just
Mhm.
jumping from one lily pad to the next.
Mhm.
And sometimes you need like 4 lily pads of your hands in different buckets. And sometimes a 3-month mat leave cover will come and then it's like, okay, that's some guaranteed income for 3 months. Great. Like, and having that be kind of part of the bigger story, whatever that story may be. And it's like not linear. I think when
Yeah.
I left away for Peloton, people like, what are you doing? Like, you could make director next year. When I said I don't want to be a PM anymore, people were like, what are you doing? Like, you're on a path. And I I know that those were paths available, but I
Mhm.
also think that I'm on my own path. And what's a little bit scary is I don't think I can really see it, but I know it's there. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
like every day I have to trust that I will be able to see the amount of pavement I'm supposed to see and everything else is just like in the distance.
Yep.
And slowly but surely it'll open up. So that's where I am these days as I chart through self-employment,
Yep.
freelancing, consulting. I think if I could like land one 10-hour a week tech client in the next
Mhm.
couple of months, like that would feel really good.
Yeah. But and how you said it, like, I look back at it as like this one thing isn't forever. Like, this one thing I pick up or whatever, it's not forever. It's not, if it's something that we don't enjoy, but also, and I've had this conversation with other folks too, of like the work that we want to do, like, talk about alignment a lot of
Mhm.
like, even though it doesn't, I can't see the pavement up ahead of like this working out, but oh my goodness, it just feels so right. The alignment is there and it feels,
Yeah.
I want to, this is what I want my days to be.
Yeah.
So it's only recently that I've felt any bit of alignment of stuff,
Mm,
um, that, might not be reflecting in my bank account, but trusting that someday, like, something's gotta I think the more that we could be in alignment, I think we set ourselves up for that thing that might just pop up out of the blue
yeah.
someday, or however it works. I don't even know. I'm not banking on that, but I'm just like, each day that I get to wake up and do anything in alignment, like, is a good day. So,
Yeah. I I could not agree more with that. That was also very evident to me when I left this last job, how quickly I felt in alignment and how like just like ready for every day I was, even though I didn't know where it was going. And I don't think
mm,
I'd ever felt that before.
yeah.
Um, I think I had to unpack a lot of like specifically just going through three layoffs in tech, one in 2022, one in 2023 when I was
Mhm,
pregnant, and then another one in 2025 last summer.
mm,
And like those were all things that happened to me. And I consider myself like a very scrappy person. I kind of always figure out a way to make it work. Like when I was in
mhm,
college and like money would be running out, like
mhm,
not enough to make it with ATM withdrawal. And like the job that I applied to, 2 weeks ago at the cafe, the Gopher Hole, was like, oh, we have an opening. And like weird like synchronicities like that. So I do trust that a little bit. Um I was going somewhere with that. And it was not just that the Gopher Hole job. But yeah, I don't know.
scrappiness.
Like scrappiness. Yeah, it's like just sort of I trust that it will all be out there. It was a layoff connection, right? So like
Mm,
when I got laid off from Peloton, it was a big company. It was their first layoff of like I don't know how many they've done since I left. I've
mm,
lost count. But these are just my opinions. If anyone from like legals on the call. But uh, but like I had severance. I was like, okay, I have enough time to like take my time, be choosy about the job that I want,
mhm,
and whatever it may be. And then the second job, I was like, is the opposite. It was like, we are out of money. We cannot pay you guys past this week. So we are letting this team go. So like night and day. And I picked up like babysitting jobs at 6 months pregnant. I was like, well, like I know I've got it now, but if I can't get a job in the next couple of months, then I'm gonna just not be able to work. Um, and so I would like do LinkedIn and like, like really like I had this whole spreadsheet and I applied to 200 jobs and did all these interviews and landed something before I gave birth and was able to take leave. And like that was again like everything sort of falling into place. Because my worst case is that I would be like in labor on LinkedIn, like trying to just like schedule things for like, okay, I
mm,
should be okay in a week, right? Um, and then when this happened again, I was like, all right, here we go again. Like
yeah.
severance was not great. It was like 2 weeks maybe.
Oh,
Like let's figure it out. And so when I kind of that happened in June, I was kind of just like I didn't want any of the jobs I was interviewing for. They were
mhm,
just not. They weren't. I was not in alignment with any of them.
mhm,
One came up that was, I interviewed, they passed, and they went with someone else who had like all this industry experience. I was like, yeah, I would have done the same thing. The CEO came back a couple months later. He was like, I have something that I need done. Do you want to come on for 3 months? I was like, amazing. And that felt good. And what I realized in hindsight is like, I let the fear of what could happen and the fear of not having security and stability take over. And
mm,
so when my boss asked, do you want to extend your contract? I was like, what if I went full time? And like, that was a moment where I feel like I acted or like, that fear took over and had me act in a way that was not aligned with
wow, yeah,
what I like knew that I really wanted. Because
right.
I could have just extended it and then it would have ended in March and
Yeah,
I would have kind of been in the same boat, but I wouldn't have had to make those like harder decisions.
right.
So now I'm trying to listen to that inner voice. And all along when I was applying, I was like, I really want to do my own thing, but I don't know what it is. And I don't have the headspace to like try to do both, but I'm open to whatever happens.
The
So
do
I'm
your
just
own
kind of,
thing is scary as heck, and, again, I'll say, like, "Oh, I haven't had a full-time job since 2006," and people, "Wow, lucky you," and it's just like, "No."
yeah,
I have
I know. I'm like, that's the dream.
a lot of
But
that
I
was
get
not
it.
by my choice. It was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I gotta fucking figure this out," and so, and you were saying, like, not enough money to take out money from the ATM. I've had a time, I think I mentioned this to you, I didn't have a bank account. a
Mhm,
number of years
mhm.
ago because banks like it when you have money in the account.
Yeah.
But just making it work. But I think too of like the scrappiness and of just trying to carve out, and maybe we'll end on this of like
Mm,
because this comes up so much like, oh, I want to be a full-time artist, I want to be a full-time this, full-time that, and like waiting until all of that aligns is, it's going to take forever. And I'm always such a big proponent of like just do a little bit that you can. And when I started doing these Zoom calls for Social Media Escape Club in 2023, like I had more freelance clients at the time, but it was just like, well, I'm going to sneak these in. I mean, I was freelance.
mhm,
It wasn't
mhm.
really, it wasn't like I had a full time job, but it was, it still felt like I was sneaking it in.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever, this 1 hour Zoom call a week, it lights me up and I want to do this. And now I do 3 or 4 a week and like getting closer, hopefully, to, making this all work. But like, I don't know. But I think that being an alignment part though I think is going to get me, I think anyone closer to figuring it out because I don't think that we sit down with a pen and paper and figure it out. I think
No.
it's just a bunch of doing and talking and vibing that we figure it out.
Yeah. And depending on, like, circumstance and headspace, it can be really easy to be detached from the intuition or whatever part of
Mhm.
you that tells you that you are in alignment, right? And so, like, fine tuning that can
Mhm.
be important, and, like, it can be really easy to let fear and, like, logic take over, right? It's like, "Well, I'm
Totally.
supposed to want a job. I'm supposed to want health insurance." Like,
You're supposed to
I
want
have a
that title,
three-year-old. Like,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, so it's hard to make those opposite choices,
Yeah.
but I find comfort in the fact that they feel so right.
Feels right.
Every time, like, the health insurance gets pulled from my account, I have a moment of like, "Oh," and then I'm like, "Okay, you know what? But I get to do this." So that's my payment for doing this.
For today, for this month,
Yeah,
got paid. All right, let's
yeah,
go. So
yeah.
yeah. Yep. Well, Julie, I think we didn't plan this either. We didn't plan where this
No, we didn't
conversation was
do
going to
any of
go.
this. I
Whew.
love it.
Yeah, this went wild. This is good.
Thank you
This is
so
good.
much for having me, Seth. This was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Oh my
And
gosh, of course.
so fun interacting and seeing you on the Substack notes and all this fun stuff. So I really appreciate that we could
Likewise.
get together and talk. And hopefully some people in the chat got something out of this too. We'll post the replay in a bit. So yeah,
Yes, thank you everybody for joining. I've been reading all of the comments and things and really appreciate you all being here. And I agree, Mary Beth. Trusting your own desire is beautiful. And I hope you all do that.
absolutely. And now you get to do your own live someday now, right?
I know,
You,
I've got to go live.
going live. Feel live, go
That's how
live.
scary.
No, no. Awesome.
One
You could
day.
do, yeah, one day, one thing at a
One
time.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Julie, you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, you too. Thanks,
Absolutely.
everyone.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
See you.
See ya.